up, ladies and gentlemen. We have a panel and we have a time crunch. So we are going to go ahead and invite the panelists very quickly.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. From all the talk about skills since morning, and the talk about different apps that have come to revolutionize our schools, it is time to turn back and look at the things we can do in our school. So I have with me 3 learner principals, and together the four of us are going to talk about how evaluation and assessment framework can improve school outcomes. As a school, we create learners, we create the society at large when we give students, of course, skills, and we make them learners. We are going to, in this session, talk about how student assessment, teacher evaluation, school evaluation, and systems evaluation, they help in improving the outcomes that the schools have.
Yeah, myself, N.K. Tyagi. Well, you know that the learners are likely to remain incomplete in case they are not assessed properly, inquisitively, and carefully. Assessment, CBSE putting maximum possible focus over various counts that how the student is to be assessed. But at the same time, this goes without saying, or this is grossly self-evident in case I be somewhat more precise with you, that the teaching community has to be trained and well-equipped before taking the assessment pursuit of a student on psychological count, on mathematical count, and on scientific count, so that the student persona is developed holistically in order to make them to be the fruitful citizen in the times to come. And that is the need of the hour, that the teaching community framework has to be developed within the institution so that the students could be assessed on various counts at a fully developed stage.
See, education, as we said, is an endeavor to encourage. And the best way to encourage or educate people, we need to go with the 3M policy. It is motivate, monitor, and the third one is modify. And believe me, evaluation does all these things. Whenever we introduce a new topic to the child, if we are motivating the child, and then when we monitor, it could be diagnostic testing or summative assessment, it helps. And if needed, we end up modifying.
Right, wonderful. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Vagmita Tyagi, Gargi Girls School, Meerut. Thank you so much for this. And to sum up, assessment in 1 minute would be very difficult for the panelists because assessment is a process that goes all around the year. It is comprehensive. So when we talk about assessment, as per new education policy, we look forward for a very progressive assessment as it would be continuing for the whole year. We have formatives, we have summatives. The CC pattern, which was far beyond control of the schools, has been brought into a new limelight with NEP following up. With NCRF and HPC, Holistic Progress Cards, I'm sure the assessment is going to be very, very moderative.
Thank you so much, and thank you for being brief. So let us start with student assessment and how we are not talking only about the outcomes of students. We are talking about how school outcomes can be improved with respect to student assessment. So I would like one of the panelists, or all 3 for that matter, that why is this important for the school assessment or the school growth, and how can outcome-based methodology help schools perform better?
See, what happens is, as and when I join a new school, I wait for the first evaluation set to start. Once that is done, we tabulate all the scores of every individual question in the examination. And the Excel sheet we get, we straight away turns into a diagnostic test without putting in any extra effort, without doing anything else. And it is individual for a child, and as an average at the class level, and of course at the school level. Same, we've got a system for the board examination. What we have found the best way to improve the school quantitative score over the years is enter all the marks in an Excel sheet. We have a few formula for that, and if needed, I can later go on in detail. everything is tabulated, a score is created out of 300 marks, and the teachers, what happens is, if the score is above the school average, they are motivated to go ahead with that, and teachers whose score is below the average and is shown on a big screen in front of everyone, do not need to be motivated at all, because see, they wish to do better, and eventually when everybody is working together to enhance the school score, it works. It has a lot of bar graphs and things, and it works. So we can
I'll
work on
just
it.
refine my question. My question is more with regard to outcomes.
Coming to it,
So,
sir.
yes.
What happens is, the outcome is, when we tabulate the scores or when we see the scores, we know where the child is lacking and what skill it is lacking. Look at the English paper for CBSE schools. It has a writing section, it has got a literature section, it has got grammar, it has got comprehension. So if we tabulate and we come to know as a diagnostic test, the children as a whole are lacking at this level, this can be improved upon, or this they are doing well.
So when you
it
say
helps.
diagnostic, you mean a more competency-based approach to
It helps.
testing.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what you mean.
And that is without putting in any extra effort, but then just simple data
I
entry.
agree.
Can I take? Yeah, as far as I think, and as far as my best possible thinking formulation is concerned, I do firmly opine that outcome-based methodology in the institutions is going to work a lot holistically, provided the schools are having sound technological advancement, well-equipped and trained teachers, counselors, as Sir talked about, and the motivators. Fact of the matter is that it is grossly self-evident that a teacher is not likely to give anything better unless and until he is himself well-equipped with that. So a student is going to be trained well in case the teacher is well-trained, and for that the principal also needs to be well-trained and well-equipped. Otherwise you see that all our efforts are likely to be rendered defeated in case we are working on a fractured technology or methodology or whatever it is.
Thank you, madam.
Okay, as far as I got your question, it was about learning outcomes. So as per the new policies that we are talking about, when a teacher is supposed to prepare a lesson plan, previously it was learning objectives that were highlighted, and now the focus is on more learning outcomes. Why? Because education is supposed to be child-centric. Outcomes need to be focused, and when we are focusing on the outcomes, the assessment should be done on what the teacher has taught. Right. The problem is that some point of time the teachers want to tell how much they know, so the question paper becomes very difficult for the child. So in the lesson plan, starting from day one when the teacher is entering the class, the learning outcomes should be clearly laid. Those learning outcomes should be the basis of framing the question paper, and I'm sure when we are working at that ground level with the child, the teacher, and learning outcomes are taken into the central position, the overall outcome of the school is definitely going to progress.
Thank you. So when I take a take on assessment of students, so norm-based assessment has become a new buzzword. And when you see SAFL assessments coming, everybody is scurrying across the board saying that why is this happening? And when you see SAFL is actually a norm-based assessment. So what happens is, a child is benchmarked across his peers, not only in his school, across the country. So at that time, you come to know whether the outcomes are being achieved. Now, I get all that talk that people say that some children are in rural areas, some children are in urban areas, they don't have access to the same quality of education. But the sad part is, whose fault is that? It's not the fault of the child that the child is studying in a rural area or in an urban area. So basically, the role of technology, like how SAFL is being used, is to leverage. The role of technology is for us is to leverage technology to get norm-referenced assessments. Apart from that, when like the ma'am rightly said about outcome-based assessments, that assessments have to be based on outcomes. But unless there is a referenced guide, a norm-referenced assessment, I think school outcomes would not find the same place as they should be. Ma'am, you want to add something?
Yes, I would like to add on, you have added a very valid point of SAFL. And just for the knowledge of all of us over here, I'm sure we all are very learned in this manner. SAFL is again going to fail like CCE in case if not implemented in true sense, because SAFL is a diagnostic test. So in case if the school will just try to improve their result and do a false assessment, It doesn't matter whether the child falls in a rural area or an urban
Perfect.
area.
I was wanting to add one thing, possibly I think that all of you will have to be in agreement with me as far as that much of thing is concerned, that a student community needs to be, you see, counseled in such a way that they become attitudinally positive, habitually receptive, and naturally curious. What we are facing today in the institutions is that the students are not able to receive because they are not having that kind of positivity, that kind of assertivity in their approach to receive the thing in the positive mode. The teacher's basic function is to simply create, inculcate, nourish, and nurture that kind of interest in the core of the heart of a child so that they become ready to receive that whatever is being provided to them in the classroom discourse. Otherwise, you see, whatever brilliant or excellent a teacher may be subjectually, communicationally, all his efforts are likely to go in vain in case he or she is not able to develop that kind of positivity and receptivity in the core of the heart of a child.
Thank you, sir. So now we move on to the next part of how school outcomes can be judged, and that is teacher evaluation. I'm sure the panelists and all of us in this room are aware about the National Professional Standards for Teachers, the NSTC document, which has been released by the NCRT. And this is one of the promises made by the NEP, that they would come across board and tell us how do we judge teachers? I mean, judge in the positive sense, or how do we evaluate teachers? So it talks about KRAs. And what are the KRAs? How is the diversity in the class? Whether outcome-based teaching is there, whether subject mastery is there, communication is there, what is the quality of teachers? So I would like the panelists to add on to this. I think I'll give it a little structure. First, sir can go, then ma'am can go, and then sir can go. Not more than 1 minute, so that we can finish the other two as well.
See, what has happened is, ma'am was talking about CC failure. Suffers potential failure is we educators being dishonest. The one way we can get over it is try to improve our score of removing dishonesty from a system, getting structure. What we are doing in a school and in a group of schools we are working with, we have question papers framed, and then no schools know where the question paper is coming or which question is taken from which place. And see, we have an advantage that the principals, as principals, we are okay with each other, whatever the score is. We have one centralized paper for all 8 schools. That happens. And of course, there cannot be a paper leakage because the teacher sees the paper right after it is handed over to the students. CBSE did try it earlier, but then it is taking time. Now, coming to the teacher's evaluation. Believe me, as principals, as school leaders, we get at the most 2 or 3 chances to have formal evaluations in the class. But what helps a lot in my school is peer evaluation, self-evaluation, and students' feedback. These things, see, these are very basic things, but we do not do it. What is the student? And because we had a lot of what ifs. But if we go in the right spirit, go with objectivity, peer evaluation is with, of course, proper monitoring by the school head. It shouldn't be our teachers go on scratching each other's back. But then if it is done properly, peer evaluation not only evaluates, but helps teachers learn from each other and enhance their abilities. Another thing, along with peer evaluation, I would request if we can go for team teaching. Believe me, teachers evaluate each other, peer evaluation is done in the same time, and teachers get better at what they're doing.
Right, to add on to this, it is more important to develop the soft skills. When we talk about soft skills, generally we are talking about children and students. So rather than children and students, it will be better that these skills need to be developed for the teachers. When you become a teacher, you give an entrance exam, you clear your Bachelor of Education, you become a teacher, that's it. So very rightly, the teachers need not to be evaluated in that sense, but yes, as CBSE organizes, as per NEP, 50 hours of mandate training is supposed to be taken up by the teachers. So teacher empowerment is what is required, and evaluation would follow at the later stage. That is what I feel.
Yeah, you see that I always encourage my teachers to take up certain spontaneous questions so that we could be able to develop the instant skills of a child. How a child is able to react accurately, exactly, in the same kind of tone and manner. You know that language is always set to the dress of the thought. And we have to develop the thought skills of the student. Because in case the student is not communicationally sound, and if he's not well-driven as far as behavioral approach is concerned, I think that the student development cannot be said to be full in approach. So behaviorally, communicationally, and soft skill development also plays a very pivotal role in a student life right from the beginning.
All right. What I feel is that until and unless we have clarity on the role of teachers, we know what teachers are supposed to deliver. Apart from that, that the teachers themselves should be aware that this is what is expected of them, so that there is no complacency. And from our side, we are completely clear what is expected of them. And what is expected of them should not be something that was 10 years ago. It should include various educational researches that have come. It should be data-driven, and most of all, it has to be subjective, not objective. Yes.
Yes, sir. Just I would like to add one thing more, that who deserves to be called an able-bodied teacher? In the words of eminent Nobel laureate Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, he opined this thing very explicitly, that a person deserves to be called an able-bodied teacher in case, besides being a student of the past, if he keeps himself in touch with the things that are surrounding him. So you see, it becomes all the more imperative on part of a teacher to equip him with latest updation, technological advancements which are taking place in day-to-day life, so that we could be able to deliver our best and latest in the best possible form to the upcoming generation.
Right. We move on to the next part, that is school evaluation. And I think I'm setting myself up here. But apart from SAFL, CBSE also came up with SQUAF.
Yeah.
And I'm talking CBSE basically because all three of us are from CBSE background as well. And when we talk about SAFL, we cannot leave behind SQUAF. And although I understand that SQUAF is more on the basis of what we do, self-assess, there is also a lovely thing that comes after that where it tells you what is the roadmap ahead. How do you feel, apart from taking the obvious that people would fudge data, how do you think that SQUAF or methods like SQUAF, developed maybe by your own internal schools or maybe developed by somebody else, how could it help your school achieve its outcomes? I'm talking about the outcomes of the school. This time we'll start with sir, then we'll go to ma'am, and then we'll go to sir.
So fact of the matter is that we have to develop that kind of, creativity in the heart of a child that renders them ideologically innovative, conceptually innovative, and corroboratively conducive. See that all these assessment methods are likely to yield in a better way in case first we train the teachers and then the students, so that the students come out in the right mode and receptive mode, and they are able to deliver better whatever we are expecting from that. So this is the thing, that the methodology, the modus operandi and modus vivendi must be made exactly clear. Clarity of teachers you were talking about, that clarity of the concept in the mind of a teacher is of utmost significance unless and until a teacher is himself well equipped and trained and ready to deliver with a willfulness. I'm firmly of the opinion that he will be able to do that, provided he is having an absolute willfulness and not a willy-nilly approach, willful approach.
Right, when you talk about SQUAF, School Quality Assessment and Framework, it basically is comprising of 7 domains, in which in case if we see the curriculum plays a vital role, the majority of the marks goes into that. So I think so CBSE has come up with a wonderful idea of providing SQUAF to all the schools, wherein in case if we are missing out on something, it is a detailed thing. It cannot be just one night affair and you put a tick, tick, tick on everything. And specifically when it comes to yourself to assessing, when it comes to 20%, in case if the child is participating at national, international, state level. So this is a very stratified level of assessment. And I am pretty sure, because we did SQUAF, first attempt, it was just around 76 grade that we achieved. This year when we did it, it was 86. So it is wonderful to see yourself growing as an institution, right? And the best part again lies that CBSE is not going to be charging you up. Why are you feeling this? It is your own honesty, what I feel. And as teachers, we really need to be honest. We are teachers, not cheaters. So we need to keep that in mind while filling a SQUAF.
Throwing the spanner in all the discussion we had for this question, CBSE has good ideas, but then there are other boards, and I'm sure with the world becoming smaller, these ideas would be inculcated in all the boards. And in the meantime, we could at least try to inculcate them in our school. The CISC, actually, the school where I am based at is a CISC school. So they actually provide a school report in comparison to the other schools. Yes, there are charges, and it's not a small amount. But then it's a comprehensive report by the board, which it is done. Of course, ma'am has said CBSE is providing it for free. Another thing, what we need to do, the Americans, they've got actually the system of evaluating the school's performance. What we
Even
in
UK has it in the
UK
form of
also has
Ofsted.
it, of course, sir.
Yes.
See, what the CIE also has it. What we Indians lack, we do not make proper use of the rubrics. We all know what rubrics are. We all give marks according to the rubrics. But then we mentally turn into 1, 2, 3, 4, good, bad, ugly, whatever. So if we have the rubrics, see, because the rubrics are self-explanatory for whatever task is at hand, whatever is being evaluated, we need to change our mindset and start using rubrics in a better manner to enhance not only the evaluation process, but a thinking ability process of the teachers, and then it will, of course, benefit the whole process and the students. So.
The last part that I want to talk to you about is systems evaluation. When systems thinking or systems evaluation would be a part of whether the systems that are in place today, are they working, or do we need to do something about the systems so that assessment can be made better? Again, we'll start with ma'am, then sir, and then sir.
Right, systems, in case if we talk about the whole education system comprises of various systems. It cannot be just a digital system. It cannot be the school infrastructure, the management, the stakeholders. And when you talk about system, the government body, the functionaries are also very much included. So right now, I don't feel everything is falling into places. Right. Why? Because, see, in case if we go with section increase or land increase or anything that we need to fill, the format that we are being provided is as per the state government, and what we need to fill is by CBSE. So clash occurs. So once when we are going ahead with something, there are many times we are said, education is state affair, and we are following CBSE. Right. So at the very basic level, we need to figure it out and make the system worthwhile, so that from top to bottom, right, when we are including Bal Vatikas in our school right now, it's a very wonderful initiative. Actually, because of ECCE, everything is coming into mainstream. So when everything is coming into mainstream, whether you have a CISC board, whether you have CBSE or IGSC board, everything needs to come into an alignment, and then only I think so any system can work out, right? There are a lot many discussions that need to go far beyond what is right now going on, but just to sum up with a wonderful line by Robert Frost, because this is something that we all need and feel one at it. Challenges are ahead, but what needs to be focused needs to be taken care of the moment. So woods are lovely, dark and green, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before we all sleep. And it's better we don't sleep, we awake, we arise, because education system is what requires a lot of mammoth change. Thank you so much for giving time.
Done.
See, systems, we do agree. We can evaluate it at a level, but at the time of working in the system, we need to forget why it is being done and work on the how. Because when CCE came, there were a lot of upheavals, and we educators were losing our energy, wasting energy. Why is this being done? So put a full stop, work on how it has to be done instead of the why. And yes, things which are not in our hand, we do want it to be better. We as educators would prefer things are better. But the sad part is, there's been a lot of shifting and moving around, shifting the goalposts, at least as far as the central board is concerned and not the other ones. So yes, we can think about it, but then as long as we've got to fill in the UDIs, we'll have to do it. We have to fill the
So
OSS,
basically,
we'll have to do it.
systems are not in our hands. That's
No,
what-
systems, yes, we can do it, but see, we can do it in a free time. Yes, if something is good, something is bad, of course, everybody can talk about Tendulkar's batting, but somebody's got to, he's got to bat it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you see that system has to be infrastructurally well fitted. Because in case infrastructural flaws are there, then nobody would be able to render the student community to be well trained. So we could obviously persuade the management to take up certain measures so that technological advancement are taking place day by day. And we won't be able to compete with the world community in case we don't train our generation with the latest technology and with the latest updation in all fields of education. So obviously we could persuade our managing authorities to take up certain corrective and reformative skills, and they will come out with us. That goes without saying.
Thank you.
One thing more I'd like to
Sorry.
sum up. So when Paul Brunton, famous philosopher, came to India to have a dialogue with Maharishi Raman, you see that he asked him that, Maharishi Raman, would you be able to tell me that what I was in my previous life? Maharishi Raman replied that it is not important, it is quite immaterial to know that what were you in your previous life. Rather, it is important to know that what you are today. Yes, sir, Paul Brunton once again asked him, sir, I was wanting to know that what I would be in my future course of action. Said, once again you are talking about in vain, because it is what I am telling is that what you are present today. So you see that he simply asked, sir, what can I do? Maharishi Raman answered him, responded him that we here simply make unlearning. So first of all, we have to make the student unlearn and then come to learning.
Thank you so much, sir. So we'll wrap up now. And I hope we took away why assessments and how assessments can be reformed. And I would urge you to take up technology along with it. And as we have been hearing since morning today, skill, 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 we should use skill education as a parameter of assessment. I thank all my co-members on this panel for the wonderful discussion that we had. And to all of you who actually made the time to listen to us, thank you so much.